Multiple agencies responded to that mass shooting scene and are also working this manhunt on I-75. Kelsey asked, did KSP take over the investigation into the I-75 shooting? And if so, why did it take a few days? Victor Puente has the answer to that good question.
Kentucky State Police were on the scene of that shooting soon after it started. But they haven't taken over the investigation. They are in charge of the search for Joseph Couch. That's the mass shooting suspect. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office is still leading the investigation into the actual shooting. At a press conference Sunday night, they said they would continue the criminal investigation in conjunction with the FBI, the ATF, and the city. They've turned over the manhunt to Kentucky State Police. They say they exhausted all the personnel they had available for that search. By turning the search over to KSP, that will free up resources for the criminal investigation. Also, just because the FBI is on scene, that doesn't mean they're in charge. A statement on their website says state and local law enforcement agencies are not subordinate to the FBI. The FBI does not supervise or take over their investigations. Instead, the investigative resources of the FBI and state and local agencies are often pulled into a common effort to investigate and solve the cases. If you have a good question, just email us. Goodquestion@WKYT.com. I'll see you on WKYT Mornings.